Well, hello, community. Welcome to one more Blue Star Careers webinar. This is the summer edition. Thank you for joining us. We're going to begin in just a little bit, but first, let me ask you, how is your summer going? How is your summer shaping up? Are you enjoying some great weather? I hope that you are. Please post it in the comments. We'd love to be able to send you shout outs and let you know where you are watching, and of course, be able to acknowledge your comments towards the end of our segment. I'd love to send you shout outs all through the entire United States, as well as our Okana's community that is watching and will be watching this replay. So if you watch the replay as well, please share it with us and let us know. We are actually here to talk about a very important topic. We are excited to be back with this live to discuss and bring you topics that can support your career trajectory no matter where the military takes you. So, what we want to do, of course, is encourage you to go to our Blue Star Careers community in the neighborhood and locate resources that will support your move, support your trajectory, no matter where the military takes you. So today we are talking about PCSing in your career and how this can add tremendous stress to an already hectic military life. But of course, that we hope that today's discussion will bring you a little sense of relief and more community connections with vetted and, of course, very intentional community partners who are here to discuss and share with you, but most importantly, focus on job search without a resume. What? Have you heard such thing? Yes. Is it a resume still needed in today's high-tech job market? Well, we hope that we can find out from today's incredible partners and their resources who will share all about their organizations and how this particular organizations that they belong to facilitates a job search without a resume. I know that is a must-hunted sort of a challenge in our community, the darn resume. But these tools or these particular connections today will help you and elevate your search without having to go through that stressor. So in today's competitive market, we need as many tools and as many allies as we can in order for us to make things happen. And then, of course, find that desirable career that will support our military life. We have Neela Thompson, a Chief of Staff of Talent Ascent, Bob Hogan, who is the founder and CEO of Bridge My Return and a military allied, and Ali Kriya, who is the Senior Director, Client Services of Abriti Consulting. So, do you have a positive military PCS story? We'd love to hear you. I would love to hear those in the comments. Let's empower each other. So why don't we begin and let's start this career webinar. And we love your comments and your, of course, shout outs as well as where you're watching. Let's begin. Well, hello. Once again, thank you so much for watching. Those of you who are spread all across the United States and, of course, supporting and contributing, I look forward to your comments. Thank you so much for sharing, as well as pay it forward. Remember, pay it forward. Don't keep this to yourself. Share with our military spouse community, our transitioning service member, our friends and families who are looking for employment. Then, of course, Blue Star Careers is here to support you and support all military connected families to great resources and, of course, incredible partners like the ones we have today here who are going to share with you all about their organizations, their background, but most importantly, the fantastic tools that require zero resume or maybe a little bit of resume from Ali, but will get you your career trajectory moving in the right direction. So I'm very excited to begin with this. So let's just go on to introductions and get to know Allison a little bit more. Allison, please welcome. Tell us a little bit more about you, your military background, connection, or who you represent.
Yeah, absolutely. It's nice to meet everybody. My name is Ali Kriya. I'm the Senior Director of Client Services for Aditi Consulting. And I'm here today because I was connected with Blue Star Careers recently through our induction into MSEP, and we had a chance to talk and was informed about this, event for this week. So I'm really happy to be here. I have, personally a strong background of family members that are, veterans as well as military spouses. So it's definitely something that I've grown up around and, have the pleasure of, being associated with these individuals. And on the professional side, at Aditi Consulting, I launched a veteran and military spouse program a little over 2 years ago, where it encompasses a lot of things, and happy to talk about it today or offline from here. But from everything from mentoring, interviewing, resume review, all the way through to finding different jobs and helping with relocation. So really excited to talk to all of you today.
Absolutely. Thank you, Allie. And I was so impressed to see your profile on LinkedIn and then come across that you are a talent guru. I want to know, I want to achieve that masterpiece and become a talent guru. So I look forward to your feedback as well as your direction on that. And then, of course, we're going to go to our very own and great partner throughout our military connections, several webinars, and she always comes and supports us, Neela Thompson, military spouse and chief of staff of Talent Ascent. Neela, welcome back. Tell us, reintroduce yourself. Because of course, I think the majority of our community knows you, but tell us about you, your background, and your military connection as well, who you represent.
Well, as Laura mentioned, I am Neela Thompson, Chief of Staff for Talent Ascend and a Marine Corps veteran spouse. Also formerly a family readiness officer for the Marine Corps, and worked in agencies such as VFW headquarters, supporting our military families for over 20 years. It's my passion, it's my drive, and I'm so happy to be here talking about Talent Ascend like I've done in the past, because as a military spouse, I truly understand what it was like having to PCS and find that new career and starting over again, having to rewrite resumes over and over again. We don't have to do that now that Talent Ascend exists. We use a skills-based hiring platform. You get to create a profile. We've reversed the hiring process, so you put on there the skills you want to use, and you get chosen for them instead of trying to fit in someone else's box.
Fantastic. I love that. So don't fit in anyone's box. You have your very unique career trajectory. And that's why we have these partners here today to share a little bit better how you can engage in very purposeful job search, but also support your career trajectory long term, which is our goal here at Blue Star Careers. And then Bob, our newly added military allied in great research, who is going to share a little bit more about himself and of course, who he represents. He created an amazing product that he's here to share with all of us. And this is for military spouses, but also service members or military dependents and everyone in between who's looking for work. But let me have Bob introduce himself. Bob.
Thanks, Laura. Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here and welcome everybody. As Laura said, I started the business Bridge My Return, or we commonly call it BMR. And anytime you start a business, you have to be solving a problem. And the problem that we're trying to solve is kind of twofold, and they're certainly related. One is veteran underemployment, and the other is military spouse unemployment. And we really built the business based upon two beliefs. One was that you had to take a holistic approach to the problem and address both the supply and demand side of the challenge, for both the military job seeker as well as the military talent seeker. The second is that technology could play a huge role in bringing some efficiency and some effectiveness and some stress reduction to the process. But the technology itself wouldn't be sufficient, that you'd have to pair that technology with support. So what we've ended up with is a military, tech-enabled military hiring platform exclusive for the military. We have not taken this increasingly popular demographic and placed it on an existing platform. It's been built from the ground up just for the military community. The groups that we're addressing are the veteran who's underemployed. You have the transitioning service member who feels pigeonholed. If you were infantryman, you should be either a cop or a security guard. The spouse who's unemployed, and even the Guard and Reserve member who's reluctant to self-identify. We do that with our technology, and we do it by only inviting military-ready companies onto our platform. These are companies who understand the business case for hiring military talent, that it's not just the right thing to do, it's the right thing to do for the business. They embrace DEIB more broadly. They're willing to invest in people who have the right behaviors, and they're willing to train them and invest in them. So that's what we have. I'm happy to share more about it as we kind of get into the meat of the conversation. But thanks.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Bobby. Yeah, hold your incredible talent and search, because we want to know, most importantly, how our members are being challenged by finding the right connection, the right job, especially during this very stressful yet unique time in our lives. This is what we call PCSing season. So that means that everyone who is still active duty, or even those who are retiring, this is the time where they take in their journey to relocate, find a new community, get new orders. And so job searching increases tremendously for our community, but also sometimes job searching becomes very challenging. So with that being said, I really would like to know more. Of course, with Nila, we talked about Talent Ascent. Talent has Ascent has several great services, but in your experience, what are the benefits of applying directly to companies using a platform such as the one that you guys provide? How will employers find me? Tell me, describe it to me. What goes on when I go to Talent Ascent and then I put my information in there, and what information is needed? That's a lot of questions for you, Nela. So just break it down for us.
So the Ascend brand itself was created by a Navy veteran who truly understands the challenges that transitioning service members face, and military spouses. We started off as a transitioning service member platform. Robin built this from the ground up. She's been in HR for over 30 years, and she wanted to do something different, something that really made it easier for all these transitions. And when I came on board, we opened it up to the military spouses as well. We've expanded the platform as well, so anyone can now use it. But we have a main focus on our military and veteran families, because the entire team is made up of veterans and military spouses. So that's our community. So when you create your profile, you get to put in where you currently live, the locations you're looking to work in, the salary range you're looking for. We have you put in past experience just because it helps build that skills profile. We ask you to adjust those skills, because think about the skills that you really love using when you're doing your job. Those are the skills we want you to match to. Now, there's no applying with us. That we've reversed that whole process. So when our employers that we vet sign up to use our program, they find our candidates. We have a concierge acquisition manager who works with our employers. They talk to the candidates first to make sure this is really a right fit, and then we pass that information to the employers. So not only are we saving time, because how many resumes have you ever written during a PCS? I can tell you that it is so frustrating having to recreate your resume for every single job posting. And now you don't have to do that anymore with our platform, because we do the work for you. All you have to do is keep your profile up to date. You can also turn your profile on and off. So you get, your service member comes home and said, guess what? Yes, I've got orders. We're moving to, Kansas City, which I love Kansas City. I've been there, great community, but it's like I didn't know anyone there. I had to do the job search once I got everything else settled at home. As we talked about before, the spouse usually comes last when it comes to the job search. They've got to get everything settled from that PCS. They've got to get kids back in school. They've got to find new resources, and then when everything else is done, we get to look for our job. You don't have to do that anymore. Once you turn your profile back on, update your address to where you're going to be living, we can start doing that work for you.
That I love that. In fact, yesterday we had a resume one-on-one through for some of our members who have been applying or submitting. And yeah, let me tell you that resume continues to be a huge challenge within identifying that right opportunities. But thank you so much for walking us through that process. I do want to know and go to Bob and ask Reach My Return, which is you and I had a chance to go and test it and see what an incredible also way to identify incredible opportunities and welcome, the skill set and identify it and really build your profile in a different way, again, to benefit the job seeker. So walk us through VMR and what are some of those great gadgets or also things that you can do through your platform that would help and facilitate the service member, but also the military spouse who is transitioning to a new community.
Yeah, thanks. And much like Talents Ascend, trying to really bring innovation to a space that has shown very little innovation in the past. And seriously, if this is what awaits the service member and the military spouse when they get out, I mean, who's going to want to go in an all-volunteer military? So we're talking about, without getting too dramatic, about national security issues, right? So we've tried to simplify it. I'm looking at my iPhone here. We're not the iPhone, but the idea for us was, how do you create this simple product that has great UI, UX associated with it, but there's an enormous amount of technology in the background. So there's an elegance and simplicity in the front end and a great amount of technology in the back end. The way that it works is the job seeker comes into BMR and they complete a profile. And I know you probably completed lots of profiles and things like that, but hopefully this one's going to be worth an investment of about 20 minutes. We capture a lot of information. We capture, who you are, spouse, veteran, transitioning service member, and so on. We will map through our algorithm. We will create jobs. Can you hear me okay?
I think you froze a little bit when you said you will create the jobs. Yeah, you were freezing a little bit when you were describing the jobs that you
Is it better now? Or
yes.
Yeah, okay. I'm sorry.
That's okay. That happens to me every time, Bob, at 10 a.m. My internet provider decides to drop my bandwidth. So it's okay. Go ahead and take it.
I can move if necessary. Then maybe somebody else can kind of jump in and I can come back on the back end.
Okay, sure.
The way that it works is, you complete a profile. We collect a lot of information. Your job preferences, your location preferences. We capture skills. We capture broad or durable skills. We capture professional skills. We capture technical competencies, software competencies. We capture education. And all of that goes into a very, kind of cruise through the profile builder. But once you invest that time, a couple of good things happen for you. One is the application automatically spits out a resume when a profile is complete, and you can use that resume both inside and outside of the platform. And it is a necessary thing, even though we're trying to get the focus off of resumes and into something that's a little bit more contemporary. But most important, you'll instantly see the jobs that you're matched to based upon how your profile fits the ideal candidate requirements that employer has established for the position. You can hit the apply button, and that person who owns that job on the other side is immediately notified that you've applied to this position. It's a match because the technology does that for you. But you also know that it's not just a job that fits you, but it's with an employer more likely to get you because they're more military ready. And communication can be initiated on the other side. As soon as a job is posted onto the platform and we grab the necessary materials from that, which we use AI to do, they will instantly see a rank order of the candidates in our database that come closest to meeting the requirements that's established for that job. So I kind of describe it as you're able to get immediately into the red zone for you football fans out there, right? You're inside the 20-yard line. You've got this short list. And it's a whole lot easier to score when you're inside the 20-yard line. Still takes some work, from the job seeker and also from the employer side. And then we obviously come in and support that as well. So that's how ours works. It doesn't just work for you 24/7. It follows you 24/7. So all you would have to do if you were relocating is just change the location preferences, and you'll see a new set of opportunities that match up. You're not going to have to apply. Individuals on the employer side will respond immediately to those applications. We get involved in that as well, because what we want to avoid is the experience that so many people have. If they apply to 20 jobs, they might hear from one. And it's just a miserable way to live. And so in our case, the jobs are going to be matched. The employer knows it's a fit for them as well. And now you can overcome some of the biases, because our focus is, and I think HR is moving this way, from functional experience-based hiring to skills and competency-based hiring, right? Said differently, what you bring to the table versus how long you sat in the chair, right? And so that's what this does. We have a technology. If you have a technology that circumvents that bias and you have a more enlightened employer, you're going to create opportunities for everyone. Because today, the typical recruiter at the typical company is going to look at the typical military spouse, 80% of whom are women, and summarily dismiss their candidacy, because they're going to look at it the way they look at everything else. Look at this job hopping, look at holes and gaps in her resume, or part-time work thrown in with full-time work, and basically be dinging them for the very things they ought to be getting kudos for. So that's what we're trying to solve for.
Yeah. Fantastic. I love that. I love that you said that you can, when you create your profile and add your skills, you can sort of match or get suggestions of where your next career could potentially be. So you suggest a specific job titles.
A specific job. It's not just
specific jobs. And we quite often get absolutely. We quite often get sometimes from members who are trying to do a pivoting or trying to figure it out. I don't want to do the same work anymore. What should I do? This would be a great way for them to identify alternatives to do that. But with that being said, let's go to Allison. Let me go to Allison, since Allison, with the recruiter had in mind, and of course her staffing agency. I want to know, why consider maybe working directly with a staffing agency like yours? I know in your case you do still use a resume, but maybe it's a different type of approach in recruiting style and placing. So tell us about how to utilize and maximize opportunities like yours to the most to finding career solutions.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think a lot of the points that, have been brought up so far are very valid in terms of, where we're moving in the future with AI, how the skills based and, not even looking at, degrees and experience. It's, where did that skill come from? And obviously, with the audience that we have today, it's where does that skill transition into the workforce, whether, you're a military spouse or, from the veteran community. So I think, what we've done at Aditi, and I'm not as fancy with the tools that you guys are talking about, but I think one of the biggest things we focused on, when we launched this program was that how are we not looked at as a typical supplier, that's just here to, gain headcount and place candidates, but what can we really do to help the community, whether it's veterans or military spouses, as they transition or how they look for that next career. So we have a group of recruiters and a specific team that handles any, resumes or any sourcing that we do for our clients that are specifically, looking for us to reach out to the veteran and military, spouse community. One of the nice things I think is that we have a lot of partnerships with clients, on that side that already have programs, that are developed. So we're really able to work with them, and they can, let us know, listen, we have X, Y, and Z coming up. And then whether it's something where, we're going out and targeting, at a career fair that we're involved in, or, just in general from, events like this where we've able to, gain those contacts and, kept up those relationships over time. And they're really looking to support and, obviously in conjunction with us, this community. So I think that's been, one thing. And in terms of, the resume, side of it, I want to touch on that because I think I have a different opinion, and I just want to challenge it a little bit. I do think there is some validity still to having a resume. I don't think, as a, you know, society, so to speak, we're still at that point where we're willing to just specifically, you know, hear a person's skills and hire at that point. But I do think that we've started to see a lot of changes in terms of, you know, the virtual screens, for example, you know, getting those questions up front, looking at people on a video platform, for example. So, you know, you have that resume, but then you're seeing how they can answer questions. You're seeing them situationally. So I think we're starting to see, you know, some screenings in terms of that. And what we've done, you know, to kind of help, you know, with the resume gaps, for example, that, you know, that were just brought up is, again, with our partners, we're able to, you know which, you know, clients that we have that are willing to hire, you know, the military spouses and understand, right, you know, why those gaps are there, and edit that on the resume, edit that in the summary, you know, that when we're out presenting these candidates, and really, you know, put the best foot forward for them. And then in terms of working, you know, with, you know, Aditi and some other avenues that, you know, we've tried to come about, you know, for this community, I think is, besides the client pool, it's definitely how we're upskilling. I think, you know, as you see those gaps in the resume that you were talking about before, it's how can we fill those gaps? So if it's a training, a certification, something that we're able to provide, or again, have our client provide, you know, with the talent pool that we bring in, we're able to make that connection for you guys. So I think that's a huge win. And then obviously just the expertise that we have in the recruitment team that, you know, you'll be talking to. So they know how to look at the resume. They know how to translate those skills that are listed on there, so it makes sense to the client. And really, you know, like I said, put the best foot forward, and then talk to you about interviewing. You know, how are you, you know, putting yourself in front of the client? What are the best, you know, interview questions? And how you're presenting yourself.
Fantastic. I love it that you are able to break down those steps for the candidate, and you have those one-on-ones that perhaps maybe a couple of the other AI tools or the systems, it allows you to drive or to put, like, you know, drive on your own through their system, their algorithm, reach my return, talent ascent. But on your case, your consulting firm allows candidates to have a little more one-on-one, but also break down what are the next steps, and use the network, your leverage, your connections, to really expand that job search that everyone needs, because we cannot do this alone, team. I think I've said it, we cannot do this alone. We have to do it with certified, vetted community partners who have raised their hand, just like all three of them here, and plus more that you will find in a Blue Star Careers neighborhood, who are really dedicated and have dedicated time, space, and a page to welcome military families, military connected job seekers to find the next career. Now, of course, not every tool is going to work for you. It all requires, or simply you got to explore all of them, or you got to explore multiple avenues for you to find the next search, whichever works best based on your current lifestyle. But I do want to go back to any of you, and any of you guys can take it. You know, with this whole discussion of AI and AI tools, technology, pre-screening candidates, ATS, all of that stuff that sometimes makes no sense to our busy lifestyle. Now, translating soft skills and identifying where we really match during a research, how does that work when we're not having a resume? How do we tell the system, such as yours, for instance, Bob, that I have soft skills, and then you're going to really match me to an awesome career that I'm expecting with the salary that I desire?
So one of the things that we've built is a military skills translator, right? Which takes the military MLS, the job code, and maps private sector skills to that military job, so they're getting credit for the skills they developed in the military, and they can take it with them into the private sector. Now you say, okay, that doesn't apply to the military spouse. Well, we've actually assigned table stakes skills to the military spouse. You know, skills like, you know, coordination, communication, time management, problem solving, etc., right? And then as they complete their profile, they'll be adding their career experiences and their career competencies and so on to it. So they end up with a complete profile and can be matched to jobs as their situation changes, whether that's a location change or something else. So that's the problem. People think that they have to start over again, and they don't, if we have a technology that's going to circumvent that. So, you know, the resume thing, I think that, you know, I think Allie's right about that it's still a requirement. But, you know, whether you're talking about the military spouse who's going to have a resume that on paper may not look great because of those holes and gaps. Or, you have a returning military service member who thinks the last thing that they did was wait tables after high school graduation before they enlisted. They're terrified of a resume. So this is almost like a camouflage resume. They're going through it and they're getting a resume without even realizing it, and they can use that again inside and outside the platform. So I think like I said before, I think that there's this shift to skills and competency-based hiring, which I think really dovetails nicely with the situation that a lot of spouses and military people find themselves in. I think it's our time for a couple of reasons. I think one is current labor market is such that employers of all sizes across the country, across industries, are challenged to find the talent that they seek in the time frame that they have, and they're going to have to tap into untapped pools of talent. The second, I think, is future work trends, and I'll stop on this, but it's not just robotics and AI and automation, it's the upskilling and reskilling of the labor force. And again, we start talking about the military community. These are people who've been trained to be trained. They don't just accept training, they expect it. And when they get it, they eat it up. And again, that holds, I think, both also for the military spouse.
Right.
So.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that, contributing to that. I do want to also just ask, maybe Nila or Ali, what are some, in your experience, what have you seen? What are some common mistakes to avoid when searching and using alternative methods? We've been so conditioned, as Bob mentioned, we've been so conditioned to go, to do these type of formatting, jobs, the resume. And so all these solutions that we're presenting here today are not very traditional or not very, but they're the most sort of talented and more driven in today's competitive market. So what are some of those common mistakes to avoid when searching for a job search, when using your alternative solution that you provide? Who wants to take it? Nila?
Well, I'm an alternative solution. So what I want to tell you, as military spouses, don't hold yourself like, if you've only done this, your skills are translatable. There's so many different jobs that you can do. So don't limit yourself. And also, if you're using traditional methods, don't talk yourself out of jobs. You can say you don't have one or two of these requirements, but it doesn't mean you're not the best person they have for the job. So don't do that.
Excellent. So don't discard yourself. And so that will help and support, of course, with additional ways to find solutions. Ali? Oh, sorry.
Go ahead,
Bob.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that, don't be afraid to sell yourself. What we're seeing a lot of right now, and I don't know if this is the right way to say it, but it's, presenting resumes with your elevator pitch on it. If you're stuck in that elevator for 30 seconds with somebody, what are the things that you want them to know that make you the best candidate? And it's an interesting way to look at it. And when I first heard, some of our clients asking for that specifically, I was kind of like, oh, well, you want to put the skills at the top, the traditional ways of doing things. And now they're either having candidates go on a video screen and give that elevator pitch, or again, to what I was saying before, that's what they want to see on the resume, all the other, areas and stuff like that. But if that elevator pitch is something that kind of impulses them and gets them so excited, I think a lot of the other areas where you might be lacking, or there just might be as much experience, is starting to not weigh as much at this point.
Yeah, I think that the military community is largely humble, and humility doesn't sell very well in an interview.
Yep.
And so that's something that, we all have to sort of deal with. We do it via our technology, and you may do it via coaching, et cetera, right? It's interesting too, the pigeonholing issue, like we had a really neat story. Was a Navy petty officer who got matched up through the BMR software to a manufacturing team lead position in Southern California, which is where he wanted to be. And it was with a big company, Thermo Fisher Scientific, 130,000 employees and so on. He had no manufacturing experience whatsoever, zero. And yet he got matched up to it because the skills that had been captured, including leadership and other things, matched him up. And sure enough, he gets the job. And I asked the person who kind of oversees their VRG there, I said, how's Luis doing? Big smile on his face. He said, Bobby's the best person we hired last year. So, you hear stories like that and you get encouraged. And back to the point I think that you were making, people undersell themselves, right? When a lot of people, they complete a BMR profile, they're saying, how can I possibly be matched up to a job as an analyst, a job as a sales manager, a job doing this or whatever? These are very different. Yeah, but they're all calling for the same things. Now, if you're, cybersecurity expert, obviously it's got to be different. The cyber to cyber or nurse to nurse or whatever it may be. But a lot of these other jobs, to your point earlier, there's an ability to transfer those skills and experiences to different types of opportunity and better ones.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And talking about opportunities, and we're almost running out of time. This has been very, very enriched discussion. So thank you so much for all of you to contributing and sharing your own perspectives. But someone made a comment, I believe one of our members and sponsors made a comment about certifications. Now, certifications, of course, through the platforms or the services that you guys facilitate for job searching. How can certifications or online training enhance the job prospecting when using tools or no resume is required? How am I going to really position myself with that? And where do you see also through your platforms that employers are really capturing those certifications or become useful and handy? 2 questions there. Who wants to take it? Allie?
I think I made the point about certifications and upskilling, but in terms of what we're seeing with employers, this is what they're starting to shift to, because you aren't seeing, just in the general population, you're not seeing the college degrees and things of that nature that are coming in. And then obviously looking at the veteran and military spouse community, just with, those of them, being deployed in active duty, and then, or again, military spouses, like we're talking about with the, the jumping around and the career moves and all the craziness that comes along with it. It's just something that the focus has leaned towards at this point. So I think you're going to continue to see that shift where if you can show a certification, if you can show some sort of experience, or to the point, with us on the recruitment side, when we're talking to our clients, if I have somebody that has, XYZ certification and is a military spouse or a veteran, I'm able to sell to that client, the advantage of hiring this person, training them up, kind of molding that person into somebody that can grow. And that's what we're seeing with, I've always preferred that in my career when I'm hiring people, and we're really starting to see that shift in a lot of the clients that we deal with.
Excellent. Thank you. Anybody else wants to contribute before we wrap it up? Yeah, go ahead, Bob.
Yeah, I was going to say we capture certifications and licenses and recommendations in fields within the application. A specific certification doesn't necessarily go into the matching algorithm. It's just in the profile, right? Because there's just too many certifications that are out there, right? There's jillions of them. We're looking at that in terms of the development pipeline going forward. But if somebody gets a certification for an electrician's license of a certain level or whatever, then that actually would go into the matching algorithm, because they'd be able to check that, electrical box within the skilled trade section, and now they'll be matched up to jobs that are in that area. But it's important. I think, again, if you have the right employers, I think, they're going to invest in that training and the obtaining of those certifications and so on. So I think that's a really important piece to this whole thing, having the right employer who's willing to invest in people who have the right behaviors.
Excellent. And talking about the right employers, Neela, Talent Ascent, I know you guys have multiple areas of expertise, contributions to the community. Now, how do you identify the employers that know for sure that they're vetting and contributing to the military community?
Our CEO works with every single employer we have. Like if they want to be an employer with us, she works with them before they can be part of our platform. She wants to identify if they're going to be treating our candidates correctly. And if they're not going to be able to do that, it's not an employer that we want on our platform. So yeah, she's very meticulous about who we're letting have access to our candidates. And certifications and education, that is all part of your career profile with Talents Ascend. And if you have those certifications, we also often have the skills that match that too. So you can just add it as a skill to help match for that certification.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that. And thank you for looking up after us. I mean, because in all of you, of course, every single one of you who are here representing your own entities, thank you for looking up for our military spouse community and our service members community, our military community in general. Because that is, again, that's when we have the right allied and the right resource to support our job searching opportunities, that really adds, so much value and support, peace of mind for our community. I do want to address a couple of questions, and then I want to leave time because we're going to end right exactly at 3 minutes. But I do want to address a couple of questions and send a couple of shout outs. And then give you guys the opportunity to do a last call to action. But are there, from Melinda here, she's on LinkedIn and is asking, are there any AI in workforce certifications that you recommend? Anyone? Have you seen any AI tools or certifications that any of you recommend that is attractive to employers or to job seekers?
Not yet. I'm sure those certifications will be up and coming soon.
With what we're seeing in the industry, as people are just starting to flip over to that, I think, I agree with you, is that you'll see more and more of what's popular.
Excellent. Okay. And then Melinda, just shameless plug here for Blue Star Careers. Over in through Coursera, there is a Google AI introduction. So just, connect with me and I'm happy to share with you what that course looks like. And then I want to say hello to Kimmy. She's over in our sponsors community. Hi, Kimmy. Thank you so much for supporting. Claire had a question or just a comment like elevator pitch. Can any of you describe what an elevator pitch will look like for someone who's starting or transitioning or just...
Yeah, I think it's your personal life, right? Not your full personal life, but just think about it. If you're stuck with me in an elevator for 30 seconds, what do you want me to know about you? What's your past experience? What's the highlights? What impulses you? What excites you? So I think those little, I call them always like hot topics, impulse words, versus kill words back in the sales, days of my life. But yeah, just in 30 seconds, what's your selling point? And I do a lot of them with people, and I always do like my personal one first when I'm talking to people so that they feel a little bit comfortable, and then we do the professional one. So, feel free to, ping me on LinkedIn, and I'm happy to, go over one with you and help you out for sure.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. And we just want to be mindful of time, summer, and then all this great weather that everyone out there is enjoying. So this will be obviously here in our digital waves. It would also be in our Blue Star Careers community and neighborhood, which I'll show you in a little bit. I want to leave time before the end so I can walk you exactly where you need to go to follow up with direct contact with Bob, with Ali, as well as Nila, and be able to also connect with all the resources that they provide as well and follow up. So it's all stored in there for you, so you don't have to worry about it. It's all in there. We have it all available for you, but also it will be right here. If you're watching on LinkedIn, Facebook, or any of our other channels, it will be here in our digital wave. So don't worry, just watch the replay, tag and pay it forward for any of your other community members, your platform, your ombudsman community, your other commands, your groups. Don't keep it to yourself. This is always how we move together and support each other for that. Now, with that being said, we're going to just now, of course, be wrapping up this webinar in thanking very, very much BMR, Talent Ascent, and Aditi Consulting, where military spouses and service members can receive career support all year long by engaging with tech tools and then very functional one-on-one discussions that will allow them to support the non-traditional job board effect. So if you're looking for additional support and just go a little bit more beyond what your PCS could potentially do for you, find your job, or even just in general year round, this is potentially the best way for you to find a job. But I do want to turn it over to our guest and go around and ask them if you can please share with us any projects you have going on and how we can all support you. What's our call to action? We love to be able to support you. We don't just like to receive, we also like to give you. So if this is your elevator pitch, so tell us. We'll start with you, Allie. So Allie, tell us, what are you working on personally or professionally, or maybe through work, and how can we all as a community military, help you and support you?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, at Aditi, we're constantly, day by day, learning new ways that we can help, the military spouse and veteran community. So we're always, up for, just advice, honestly, from anybody or what you're looking for. I think right now we're working on an internal mentorship program and informing those employee groups internally with our members, and then also with the consultants that we have, so we can have everybody, feel like they're more part of a community and get together. So that's on the horizon for something to offer to our consultants going into the second half of this year.
Excellent. So best way to connect with you through LinkedIn and go and blast you with messages and connections and let's yes. And then I want to know when your Talent Guru certification will be available. So that I am looking forward to that. And I mean that in a good way. Of course, I love always to connect. I'm a talent enthusiast, and every time I can learn a trick or two from another professional, I look forward to. So Allie, thank you so much for being here. Bob.
Yeah,
same for you.
Yeah, we just released, and I sent a link to it, that VA News published announcing our new software. But we have a lot of things in the development queue as well. Our job matching algorithm is never going to be complete. It's always going to continue to be refined and improved. The same thing with our military skills translator. We're incorporating more and more AI into it to help the experience on both sides. For example, on the employer side, to make it easier on them, is we're able to take a job description and from that identify the skills and competencies, et cetera, embedded in that job description, and auto-populate those fields in the application on that side. Again, saving them enormous amounts of time and creating great efficiency and so on. So we'll continue to do that. Our focus is really on the user experience, right? And our new version, BMR 2.0, not a very clever name, but 2.0, really, it has the fingerprints of the military community and employers who want to hire them all over it. So this is just a work in progress, and it's a passion. I mean, we're all in this for the right reasons, and we don't just got to do this work; we get to do this work.
Excellent, thank you. And with that. Neela, how are you getting to do this work, and what is your call to action? How can we all support you?
Well, you guys have already heard about Talents Ascend, and that houses our platform and all our candidates and employers. But we also have the Ascend Collective, and that is working to help people get career ready. So you'll see a lot of stuff coming up with what we call TAC right now. All here to help you, to support our community. Make sure you go follow us on all our social media pages. Check out our website. We have a new executive director for the Ascend Collective, James McCabe, and he's doing a great job at building that side of the house up to better support all of our career seekers out there. Ladies and gentlemen, if you do not have a LinkedIn page, go get it. Go get that done. It's important for your career. Start networking. We've done a great job at building a military and veteran community on LinkedIn. We're here to support you. Connect with me.
Excellent. Thank you. And then from my side, my call to action will be for all of our members. I'm going to go ahead and really quickly share my screen where you will find and locate all of these resources, direct connections. So you don't have to juggle all of that stuff. I'll take care of that for you, team. So don't worry. We'll take care of that. And this will be all in the Blue Star Careers neighborhood. So if you don't know yet, the Blue Star Careers neighborhood, it's a new platform, a digital platform where we as Blue Star families members can engage with other members, other staff, and just in general, different programming. So if you can see here, we have different areas of interest. We have multiple groups out here for you to enjoy. The group, of course, that I very shameless here would love to send you is to our Blue Star Careers group community, where you can actually go and enroll and engage and more discussions. We shared job leads daily. We shared who the employer spotlight is for the day. We also share different job opportunities. But right here in the media center is where we are building a purposeful and very intentional media center with all of our partners, resources that you can connect directly, and most importantly, access very easily with just your email, and be able to in your email and just your non Department of Defense password, if you know what that means. So, but also you can also connect with other members in local communities as well. In your local, you can connect with Manila and everyone in Jacksonville, out there, Florida, and everyone who is connected here. But you can also post a comment and then request support, and that comes directly to our staff, to myself, and to everyone who is here in the neighborhood monitoring, to making sure that all of our Blue Star community members are getting the support and the resources they need. So I'm sorry, that's what I had to say. And it's a little bit longer on my sales pitch, but that's really where I need you, because I want all of our community members to have that very intentional meet our allies and our contributors that are here to support and really make military life awesome, but also PCS, deliver career solutions all year round, no matter where the military takes you. So with that, I'd like to say thank you so much for being here. Enjoy the beautiful hot weather. I'm sweating here. I think I got my miles and my Zuma all out of the way, because it's a beautiful hot day here in Eastern Oregon. And so continue to post your comments and your questions throughout. We will monitor those. I know that it's a beautiful day out there, so many of you will not watch this, will watch the replay. But when you do, know that we will take care of your comments and direct you into the right place so that you can connect with Bob, Nila, and Ali, no matter where the military takes you, all right? So thank you so much for being here. And this concludes our webinar. Thank you.